So I actually started at CCM with a program that existed even before the Crickets program. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was called Chickadees. So I must have been around 4 years old at the time, and I gradually moved my way through crickets, then treble, lyric, concert choir. So I was there for a total of 12 years, I think. So it's a pretty substantial time in my life. But yeah, it was great to kind of really build incrementally on the skills I learned from a young age. A lot of learning the fundamentals of music theory that a lot of people don't grow up learning. And so this has been really instrumental in terms of even in college. I'm not formally pursuing any type of like musical education, but I had to, for my project, I wrote a music album and actually wrote all the songs myself. And so I learned the basics of, well, how do I write stuff on a staff? And how do I figure out what rhythms to include? So on and so forth. And a lot of that too was just using my ear, which is something that I really developed in my time at CCM. And then I guess in terms of, general skills that can be applied outside of a music context, one of the big things I learned, and this is something that makes sense in a music context, but also kind of in a general setting, just the importance of listening to others. And so obviously, when you're in a choir, you have to be listening to others to find that appropriate balance. But even translating that into a real world setting, you also have to be listening and making compromises and making sure that we're working in harmony to be meeting as many needs as possible. So that was a big one. I guess my favorite parts about CCM were kind of the opportunities outside of the formal classroom setting to interact and get to know others, because that's really how I built a lot of friendships throughout the program. So I remember even singing in an opera with some of my fellow I guess CCM classmates, and that was such a cool experience because it was a separate group on a volunteer basis, and everyone who was there wanted to be there. And so getting to meet people across different levels of the choir was super cool as well. I think CCM instilled in me just this love for music, and a love that goes beyond just listening or just performing, but really going into some of the nitty gritty behind it and recognizing all the attention and detail that goes into producing music as a whole. I think that's something that's often overlooked. And while it's great to just listen to music just for fun, I love to do that. But I think there's so much intention that goes behind the music that we hear. And that's something I don't think I would have recognized as much had I not been a part of CCM and seen, what are the dynamics here? Why they do this rhythm here? How they split it up among different parts? And so even as I'm just listening to music on the radio or on my phone, I pay so much more attention to all the deliberate decisions behind the music elements to each song. And I'm really grateful for that. If you're thinking about joining CCM, by all means, and I'm biased in saying this, but I would certainly encourage you to do so. And there are a couple of reasons why. One, the support from the staff members, from fellow classmates, even from parents that, I didn't directly know, but the support within the community is just felt everywhere. And there's really no more encouraging place to be than at CCM. And two, you are going to learn so much in your time at CCM, whether you're starting early on or whether you're starting later on in your music career. There's so much to learn, and the skills and the knowledge I've gained from CCM stick with me to this day. And so really it's just the supportive community that encourages you to learn, to take risks, and really see the benefits of all your hard work and how that translates into a musical setting.